Hello, everyone. Thank you to Rahul and Nordspace for the invitation. Appreciate the opportunity to chat. I'm in a precarious position here. I'm the only person between you and mix and mingle, so I realize that. So please bear with me. I'll try to go quickly. So this is an exciting time to be in the space sector. It's particularly exciting for Canada as we all witnessed the preparation, launch, the live stream, and the splashdown of Jeremy Hansen in the Artemis II mission. We also all heard recently that Josh Kutrick will be going to the International Space Station as early as September. So 2 launches in 1 year. Yes, thank you. It's a unique time in our history as a spacefaring nation. Canada's abilities in space, not just our astronaut program, but our other capabilities we bring to bear and are developing, including space launch, are primed to produce a step change that will cement Canada's position as a global space leader for generations to come. Globally, space has evolved from primarily a scientific and exploratory domain into a strategic, economic, and security asset. It underpins everything from communication and navigation to defense, climate monitoring, and supply chain resilience. That transformation has been recognized clearly in Canada's defense industrial strategy, which has been cited several times today, which places renewed emphasis on sovereign capabilities with space front and center. Within this broader context, commercial space launch has emerged as a clear Government of Canada priority. Recent announcements and policy actions signal that launch is no longer viewed as a peripheral infrastructure, but as a strategic enabler. Access to space matters, not only for what it allows us to do technologically, but for what it signals about national capability, resilience, and ambition. At its core, it means Canada reduces its reliance on others and becomes a nation with direct and sustained access to space. That is a sovereignty issue, a security issue, and an economic opportunity. The Canadian Space Agency plays an important role in supporting this evolving landscape. More broadly, CSA's mandate is to enable the growth, competitiveness, and sustainability of Canada's space sector across technology development, industry support, policy coordination, and international engagement. So CSA is not new to supporting launch-related activities. Historically, the agency has been an early contributor to launch technology development in Canada. Through programs such as the Space Technology Development Program, CSA has supported companies including Nordspace, Reaction Dynamics, C6 Launch, and the Launch Canada Rocketry Association. These early-stage investments have helped de-risk critical technologies, build technical credibility, and move Canadian launch concepts closer to operational reality. While no single program creates a launch sector on its own, these efforts helped establish a foundation, technical, institutional, and commercial, upon which today's momentum is built. So before I recap our work on launch to date, I want to ask you to think about what else CSA should do to develop and maintain sovereign Canadian launch capability. And then I want you to tell me your ideas. Recognize that launch activities intersect with safety. We've just heard about safety. Last 2 presentations, security, our international obligations, and commercial competitiveness. CSA has also played an important enabling role on the policy and regulatory side. Our teams have been working closely with Transport Canada to help ensure Canada has a modern regulatory regime for space launch. This collaboration, led by Carrie, who was up here a few minutes ago, and her team, reached a significant milestone on April 21st with the introduction of the Canadian Space Launch Act. We will continue to work with TC to ensure that authorizations for launch from Canada leverage technical expertise, as well as consider the growth potential of Canada's space sector and our reputation as a leading spacefaring nation. We will also continue to work with TC and other regulators to help ensure Canada has a modern regulatory framework for in-space activities. This work is essential. A credible launch market cannot exist without a clear, predictable, and internationally aligned regulatory framework, as was echoed in the CEO panel. One that protects public safety and national interest while also providing industry with certainty and efficiency. Beyond bilateral collaboration, CSA also plays a coordination role within the federal system. Based on our mandate, the agency works closely with ISED, Transport Canada, D&D, and Global Affairs Canada, many of the colleagues who are in this room, to advance regulatory modernization and policy coherence. This coordination is not simply administrative. Launch touches multiple policy domains at once: security, foreign policy, competitiveness, safety, and international law. Ensuring alignment across departments is critical to avoid gaps, duplications, and unintended barriers to growth. A key element of this work is international benchmarking. As launch is by definition a global activity, Canadian companies compete for capital, partnerships, and customers in an international market where policy choices matter. Examining how other spacefaring nations structure the regulatory regime and support their industry, and learning from both successes and missteps help ensure that Canada's approach supports a sustainable and competitive launch market, rather than unintentionally constraining it. So looking forward, this brings me to my central question: what comes next? As we look ahead, the challenge is not only how Canada builds launch capability, but how it maintains it over time. Launch capability is not a one-time achievement. It is a sustained national asset. Once established, it requires ongoing attention, regulatory clarity, technical expertise, and market demand. A commitment to maintaining launch capability sends an important signal to industry and allies and to Canadians. It signals that Canada is serious about its place as a leading spacefaring country, capable not only of innovation, but of long-term stewardship of critical space infrastructure in uncertain geopolitical times. Sustaining that capability will require continued alignment across several dimensions. First, tech development must remain connected to market realities and operational pathways. Early-stage innovation is essential, but so is support across the scale-up and demonstration phases. Second, regulatory frameworks must continue to evolve as the sector matures. As launch activities increase in frequency and complexity, regulations must remain risk-appropriate, efficient, and internationally compatible. Third, policy coordination across government will remain essential. Launch is inherently cross-cutting, and sustained success depends on consistent objectives and shared understanding. Finally, international engagement will continue to matter. Launch does not occur in isolation. Connections between the markets of like-minded partners, international norms, partnerships, and obligations shape how and where Canadian launch operators can compete. CSA remains committed to playing its part in this ecosystem, supporting innovation and enabling coordination, and contributing expertise to ensure that Canada's space sector grows in a way that is sovereign, competitive, safe, and globally relevant. In closing, commercial launch represents more than a technical capability. It reflects how Canada positions itself in a rapidly changing strategic and economic environment. The choices we make now will shape not only the future of launch in Canada, but our broader role in the space domains. This is indeed an exciting time to be in space and an important moment to get it right. Ultimately, this is about ensuring Canada has reliable and sovereign access to space and the ability to grow and thrive in the global space economy. As I wrap up, let me return to my challenge from earlier. What remains to be done? We have an engaged and motivated government team here today. We need to hear from the rest of Canada's space team, as we have throughout the day, in the room on what the challenges are. Tell us frankly and where we should nudge, what needs to speed up, where we should have more direct involvement, and what it is going to take for Canada to establish and maintain sovereign launch capability in the future. Thank you for your attention.